Okay, we good here? Today we are gonna go over the realistic journey of making my first ever YouTube video as my second YouTube video. I know it's a bit meta. So we're going to go from the moment I had the idea of starting a channel and what it then took to publish my first YouTube video. It's a little bit over a month from start to finish. We're going to go over why I decided to start a YouTube channel, what the exact time frame was, 3, what exact sort of software and gear I used, how I made that scribbly effect, and 4, what the final costs were, and also take a peek into the analytics. So yeah, let's jump into it. First things first, why I decided to start a YouTube channel. The first confession here is that I actually don't watch YouTube. Early December, I'm making like my New Year's resolutions, and the more I started reflecting on all the things that brought me joy and energy, I think it became more clear to me that content was a way to do a lot of things that I was interested in. I love engaging with communities, teaching, always loved film editing, and obviously music. All to say, content seemed like a good way for me to create a home for all of these disparate interests. I came across Ali Abdaal. I just immediately resonated with a lot of his content and his delivery of it. And yeah, that's when things just started clicking. I was like, okay, why not give this a shot? So that was in mid-December. And I guess that's like a good transition to then talk about the exact time frame. I wrote down the exact receipts, so we're gonna go through this exactly. December 18th is when I came across my first Ali Abdaal video. He has a ton of stuff about like starting a YouTube channel. From December 18th through December 30th, I watched 36 Ali Abdaal videos. I was eating it up. December 26th, I sent my cousin who grew up on YouTube. I was like, Christian, I am thinking about starting a YouTube channel. And it was like so embarrassing and vulnerable for me to say. That's why that's like on here as a moment in time when I manifested it out in the world. Then after that, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And I told myself I would commit the month of January. What does that mean? I'm gonna get the gear. I wanted my video and audio quality to be really good, and I honestly had no idea what I was doing, but thankfully both Ali Abdaal and Chloe, she had their gear pages, and so that's how I did my research. We were in LA for the holidays. The gear in LA was going to be cheaper, so I decided to reach out to folks on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace so we can pick some stuff up before we headed back to the Bay Area. January 3rd is when we were driving back up, and I started to pick up some gear. So first things first, we picked up this Sony a7S III from Matt. Matt was amazing. He's a videographer for a lot of the biggest DJs in LA. He was giving me a lot of tips for like if I were to record sets and all that sort of stuff, which will be coming hopefully soon. The other thing Matt sold as well was the Rode Video Mic Pro with a dead cat. I decided to go with that instead of buying a separate audio sort of recorder. So just record straight to the video. So there's that. Thank you, Matt. After that, we went to go pick up some turntables. Not related to this story. Lots of gear, hustling. We drove up to San Jose then to pick up the lens. So what I got was a Tamron lens. Who knew lenses were so expensive? So like all of this was like, so that's January 3rd. I don't know what we did for about a week, but January 9th was the next date in all of this. I started getting video ideas out there, and then that afternoon I had coffee with my friend Stella. We just had this amazing conversation where we're really encouraging one another. That ended up serving as the basis for my first video. I had a whole bunch of other ideas, but it became clear that this was the topic that I wanted to talk about. So at the beginning of the week, I had calendared out exactly how I was going to approach things. So January 10th was the day that I was going to get all my gear and get set up. I knew that that was going to take some time before I could even start recording. I started researching lighting. I started researching SD cards. I was so confused. Like, SD cards are a whole freaking world. I don't even know. And then January 11th was the day I assigned myself to start filming. That morning, I bought the ring light, I bought the SD card, I came home, and my first take was 3:46 p.m. All right, let's do take 1. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, which I'm actually new here, let's not do that. Stella checked in on me and was like, are you filming? And I'm like, yes. So I got to send her that. January 12th, I went to Best Buy, got a new ring light, but that take was still bad because I didn't have a script. I took take 2 at 4:14 p.m. and it was just not good. And so I realized this was not gonna happen with me not writing out a script. It was January 17th that I spent almost the whole day writing the script. As much as I want to be like, oh, I just thought of those things off the cuff, it just takes a lot of time to record a video where you're trying to make a lot of precise points and try to make everything really tight. It's obviously a lot easier to just be super rambly and just say a lot of stuff. The script definitely helped and I got to cut things out and just get everything a bit tighter. January 18th, this is the day I took 4 takes. So I did 2 takes in the morning, 10:45 a.m. and then 11 a.m. Okay, we'll do one last quick take. Takes 5 and 6 happened at 5:40 p.m. I really don't want to do this. And 6:33 p.m. Try this one last time. Oh, whoops. And you could just tell in those videos, I was so exhausted, so over it. And like, that's why you really want to try to do it in one take. I think having a one take mindset will just really help you. To be totally honest, this is my second take, but the ring light glare was really bad and I think it's a lot tighter. So honestly, after take 6, I was like, do I even want to do this anymore? I was just getting so exhausted and I was so over it. January 19th, the next morning, I'm like, today is gonna be the final take. And I remember I was brushing my teeth and I was like, why don't I just acknowledge the mistakes? Because this is a whole video about getting your video out there. If you've heard of the concept kintsugi, it's a Japanese ceramics concept where like they take broken pottery and they glue it back together with gold. How do you highlight the errors and make it even more beautiful despite the errors, you know? So yeah, I don't know, it feels a little corny, but that's kind of how I thought about the video. I was like, hey, why don't we just acknowledge the mistakes? And yeah, that's how those outtakes just like got left in that first video. So, oh my gosh, this whole concept, oh gosh, now going into January 20th, so this week I will say I got a little distracted because this became my TikTok week. So within this week, I ended up making 10 TikToks. I would encourage anyone who is thinking about making content or feels a little bit shy to just start doing this. Pick up your phone, whatever's on your mind, just start to record, edit it in using CapCut on your phone. It'll help loosen you up and it'll help you start to think about like a lot of different ideas. So January 30th was the day I spent the bulk of the day editing. I think I started at 2 p.m. I just went straight until like maybe 2, 3 a.m. like editing. Uber Eats some food to home and I was just like, I was stuck like at this seat over here. January 31st, I was trying to get the video out before my friend and I were going to the SF Ballet that evening. I was busting my butt to try to get it out there. I finally uploaded one unlisted to YouTube. Oh my gosh, it was so dark. And I realized I didn't like color grade it. And when I was color grading it, because I don't know much about color grading in DaVinci, it was taking like the life out of it. So then I basically just reverted all the changes. And then that's eventually what I finally uploaded by end of day on January 31st. Fast forward to now February 1st. I was able to use the morning to finalize the thumbnail. I used Figma because I'm a UX designer, which you can see here. And then I also had to write the description box. I also had talked about downloading a graphic, so I had to finalize all the logistics of that, getting a bit.ly link, uploading it to Dropbox, etc. And yeah, so then I took the unlisted link, I shared it out with my cousin group chat, and that was like the first time we finally let my YouTube video live into the world. The moment it feels real is when you share the link. Like you can publish it to YouTube, but the real moment is when you first share the link with anyone. So that was the moment. And after that, what I did was then I took that link, the video was still unlisted, and I posted it to my close friend story. There's like so much around like the sharing of the video that I didn't realize, like there was a whole bunch of work to do afterwards. So anyways, an hour later, I then published it to my public Instagram, and yeah, and then it was off from there. And folks were like so nice about it. People were posting it to their stories, sharing it with their friends, and I was so grateful for that. Friday, February 2nd, that's when I came up with this reel, which again, honestly took a few hours to edit it. I posted it to Reels and then I posted it to Twitter. And yeah, what was great about this is that it gave folks like a sneak peek to what the video is about. What you want to do is like help your friends share you in a way, right? Because like before, like people had to take a screenshot and make their own like little story. But if you make a reel, it kind of captures like the video and it gives them something easy to share. And then on Twitter, posting that this is what the tweet looked like. And yeah, surprisingly, I got more views from Twitter than I did from Instagram, from internet strangers. So here are the analytics for the video so far. I think my biggest surprise here has been how many views came from Twitter and to just the sheer number of views and subscribers from this first video. I know it's not that much. I think it's about like 2,000 views and maybe like 250 subscribers or something like that. Each of those views, each of those comments, each of those subscribers means a lot to me. So thank you for anyone that's taking the time to do that. Okay, so that's like the time frame. That's a little bit too long at this point. I've been talking for like 30 minutes straight. So this might just have to be a long video. Let's move on to the next piece, which is the software. The main piece of software I used was DaVinci Resolve. What I did was I watched a few different tutorials and that was how I ramped up to DaVinci pretty quickly. I was gonna have to learn some sort of software anyways, so I decided to learn DaVinci. Honestly, if you're just getting started, CapCut is amazing and a lot more user-friendly. So the second most important piece of software in my workflow was Figma. Figma has been my main tool for a long time, but I use that for any of the graphics, whether it's the thumbnail, the graphics in the video, the poster that I made at the end. That was like the second piece of software. The third sort of tool that I used was my iPad and Procreate. What I did was I used Procreate and set the background green, and I would just screen record me writing like boy day to day. I would crop it to get rid of all the chrome, and then I'd use DaVinci to basically key out the green, like it's a green screen, and then I'd also speed up because it's so slow. That said, I wouldn't recommend using screen record because the quality is so low, and I didn't know that because when you're editing video, it's like that tiny little box. So that is how I did the scribbly effect. So that is that. Now let's go on to the final cost of the gear and all of that. So breaking down the total cost of the gear that I bought to get to my first video was I bought the Sony a7S III, which is honestly a bit overkill, but I bought it secondhand. The Rode Video Mic Pro, again, this was secondhand as well, and he threw in the dead cat. Then I bought the SD card, and then we have the ring light, which was, I believe, is around $50. So the total amount of money that I spent was this amount. But yeah, if you are starting today, the biggest hurdle is always just getting started. So I actually feel very strongly that you shouldn't get too bogged down by the gear and just like go ahead and start recording with your iPhone and do your editing with CapCut and get your first video out the door. Don't let gear stop you. Let me put this amazing quote by Rick Rubin to remind you of that. All right, so that is the video. This is definitely a little bit more rambly and went through a lot of excruciating detail. I figured that by documenting this process, it could give you a little bit of encouragement that honestly, it takes folks time to get that first video out there. I personally would recommend just trying to get your first video out. It shouldn't take that long, but yeah, maybe it was interesting to kind of hear about what that process looked like, from the idea of starting a YouTube channel to hitting publish, everything that it took, all the time, the software, the cost, whatever it took to get the video out the door. And yeah, honestly, I'm still learning. If you have tips, feel free to share them with me below. What I've done is I've put together a launch checklist. So if you're interested in that, I will leave that in the description box below. Stuff that I'm gonna be using for each of my videos moving forward. Create a thumbnail, write your description box, make sure you have your Instagram reel. And yeah, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching this video, and whatever it is that you're working on, remember, I am always here rooting for you. So thanks so much, and until next time.